The story of the Exodus is the account of a God who hears the cries of the oppressed and a reluctant leader who finds his voice in the burning heart of the desert. It is the narrative of a rescue so great that it became the defining moment for an entire nation. The cry of the oppressed centuries after the death of Joseph. The Israelites had grown numerous, and a new king of Egypt arose who did not know anything about Joseph. Fearing their numbers, the Egyptians turned the children of Israel into slaves, crushing them with hard labor in brick and stone. But their suffering did not go unnoticed in the heavens. The Lord said, "I have indeed seen how my people are suffering in Egypt. I have heard them cry out because of their slave masters. I know about their sufferings, and I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians." God chose Moses, a man who had fled Egypt for his life and was living as a shepherd in Midian, to be the instrument of this rescue. At a bush that burned but was not consumed, the Almighty revealed his name and his mission. The Battle of Wills. Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron, standing before the throne of Pharaoh with a simple demand: "Let my people go." But Pharaoh's heart was as hard as the monuments he forced the Israelites to build. There followed 10 devastating plagues, showing that the gods of Egypt were nothing compared to the Creator. The Nile turned to blood. Frogs, gnats, and flies swarmed the land. Livestock died. Boils, hail, and locusts followed. Finally, a darkness that could be felt covered the land for 3 days. Yet, Pharaoh remained stubborn until the final, terrible night, the Passover. At midnight, the Lord killed every firstborn son in Egypt, from the ancient son of the king, who was heir to the throne, to the ancient son of the prisoner in the dungeon. Only the houses marked with the blood of a lamb were spared, broken by the loss of his own son. Pharaoh finally relented. The Israelites left in haste, carrying their bread dough before it could rise, beginning their journey toward freedom. Between the sea and the sword, the rescue, however, was not yet complete. As the Israelites reached the shores of the Red Sea, they heard the terrifying thunder of chariot wheels. Pharaoh had changed his mind and was pursuing them with his entire army. With the sea in front of them and the Egyptian blades behind them, the people panicked. But Moses stood at the water's edge and spoke words of radical faith. Moses answered, "Don't be afraid. Stand your ground, and you will see what the Lord will do to save you today. You will never see these Egyptians again. The Lord will fight for you, and all you have to do is keep still." The great crossing then, the impossible happened. At God's command, Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. A strong east wind blew all night, pushing the waters back until they stood like walls on either side. The Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on both sides. The Egyptian army charged into the seabed after them. But as the last Israelite stepped onto the far shore, the waters collapsed. The power of the oppressor was washed away in a single moment. The song of freedom, standing on the banks of the Red Sea. The people who had been slaves only days before finally realized they were free. Miriam, the sister of Moses, took a tambourine, and all the women followed her, dancing and singing a song of victory. The rescue from Egypt was more than just a change of location. It was the birth of a people. They were no longer the property of Pharaoh. They were now the people of the Lord. When the Israelites saw the great power with which the Lord had defeated the Egyptians, they stood in awe of the Lord, and they had faith in the Lord and in his servant Moses.